What's poppin', people? This is a Ground Voices social audio coverage, and the personality that's being covered is Dusse. Okay? And what is Dusse facing right now? He's facing a public trial about his real life sexual assault case. Now, I'm going to give you a backstory of Dusse. Dusse is a personality on social audio, specifically Clubhouse right now, and he's rising up in ranks. He just recently did an interview with Blue Da Vinci, Lil Zane, so we can say that he's popping. He even had a public relationship with another personality, okay? A high profile personality named Honey Shakur, okay? Now, as far as the trial of Dusse, how did it come about? Dusse and Honey, they've been going back and forth. They have their makeup and breakup relationship, okay? Apparently, Dusse had told Honey, that he had a sexual assault situation. I don't know the details. That's why I'm framing it that way, because I don't know exactly how he verbalized it to her. But when they got into it, she essentially alluded to him having something on his record, because she was kind of saying, if you get doxxed, put out your real name, dox, let's see what, you know what I'm saying? Kind of somebody pushing you, making you feel like they're about to expose you. So, Dusse, his meta lawyer, Keita, was like, hey, Dusse, dox yourself. Now, there's a debate if that was a good idea or if that was a terrible idea. I'll leave that to y'all. What Dusse did was he doxed his own self, and then people were able to go and look at his criminal record. All right? Now, when that comes out, there's a public and platform reaction. So the public, that's the audience, they're going to say what they say, and then the platforms is going to spin what narratives they're going to spin. So there was a whole bunch of narratives. Some people were saying that he sexually assaulted his baby mama when she was 13 or younger. Some were even saying that he sexually assaulted his own son, who was a minor, right? So there was all kinds of narratives. Somebody even said he broke into the baby mama's crib and sexually assaulted her, so we've heard all kinds of things, right? He came to Ground Voices, and, the platform is to be objective and for people to come tell their stories and for the public to decide from there. Because the case has already went through trial, right? So right now it's all about public perception, and what he puts out there is what people are going to judge him on, and also they're going to judge him on the facts of the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the interview that I had with Dusse, and I'm going to break some things down based on what he said, and then after that, I'm going to go through the facts of the trial that the United States government put out there. And then in the end, you guys will decide for yourselves. Okay? Okay, so what you about to hear is Dusse's words. Let's listen and I'll break it down.
My lawyer basically said his name was Joseph Manzo. My lawyer basically was saying a lot of this don't sound right because y'all got a 3-year-old child together. Why would you rape? Why would you sexually assault somebody you've been having consensual sex with? It doesn't make sense. Then they said she didn't come to court. She didn't come to court at all.
Okay, so she didn't come to court, right? So anybody with sense is going to ask the question, if she, filed the charge and didn't show up to court, then they should drop it, right? Let's continue.
Is that a felony? Is it a felony or a misdemeanor?
It's a felony, I think.
And this is Herm, who's also a lawyer.
If she never, like, one of the things, if the alleged victim doesn't come to court, I'm not really going to have my client plead guilty to anything without the victim there, right? I would even go far as to say it might be malpractice for me to have my client plead guilty if the alleged victim is reluctant to want to come forward, right? So that's the only thing that to me is really strange, is that the alleged victim wasn't around, didn't come to court, and your lawyer didn't ask for it to be dismissed.
Yeah, they were just trying to charge. I'm a young black man. They were just trying to charge me with something.
So, he says he's a young black man. They was trying to charge him with something. We continue the conversation further.
He said, so I could go home and I'll get
Oh, this part, the audio was breaking up a little bit, but he's basically trying to say, like, the lawyer suggested that he takes the charge, so he can walk.
Advised me to do this. Like,
is that because you had a burglary charge? That was.
Yeah, it's because I had a burglary charge.
So that's the meta lawyer Keita. I guess this part changes things for me. So he had a burglary charge, right, that he was also dealing with, right? So essentially the lawyer said, yo, let's just take this, and we're gonna get into the details of the final, charge or conviction, I should say. Okay. So lawyer says, just take this so you can walk, based on everything that you're dealing with in court right now. Because you don't just have one case. You got a sexual assault case and you got a burglary case.
The lawyer said if you pled guilty for the sexual, you could walk on the burglary. That's basically what
I basically took the brunt of the charge from the burglary. That's what I took the brunt of the charge from.
So do you feel like they had you on the burglary, so it would kind of, they threw that in as far as the other charge, and you felt compelled to just plead guilty to both of them, cop out to both of them?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so you heard his words. Let's continue the conversation further, and I'm gonna give you guys some more details.
I started messing with her when I was 15.
And she was 13 or 12. Because you said 3 years.
Mm-hmm. She was 13.
2 years and 11 months.
So was
I
she
definitely
12 or
was
13?
15. I don't know. At that time, she was lying to me. She didn't tell me her real age in the beginning. I was 15. Now, yeah, she's how old is she now? I think she's like 28, 29 now.
So he's 32. So they have like a 2 to 3 year difference, right? So he said they started messing with each other when he was 15. So we're going to assume that she was 12, right? 3 year difference, okay? She had a kid with him when she was 16, okay?
If you was 15, she would have been 12 or 13. And then you saying you got the charge when who was 18, you or her?
She was 18. I was a little older.
How old was you then?
Probably like 20, 21.
Okay.
So he says, basically it's like he didn't get the charge when he was like, underage, and when she was underage, he's saying she was of age, she was 18 and he was 21. Okay. Now as far as the charge, I wanted to know, like, is this something that you did, or are you saying that you were innocent but just took you just took a plea, basically? All right, so let's listen to that part.
But you saying this is your baby mama, you've reached out, you're going to see if she can come and speak on it, and I guess, would you expect her to say that it didn't happen and that she lied on you? Is that something that you think she would do?
9 times out of 10, yeah. Yeah.
Because she has already, like, confessed. I mean, like, y'all have already had that conversation where she took it back.
Okay, so let me summarize this, and then I will get into the facts from the court, okay? So essentially, he's saying he was talking to this young lady when he was 15 and she was about 12, okay? Because I'm doing a 3-year difference, right? Because he also says 13, right? But if you say 3-year difference, then we're going to assume you was 15 and she was 12, right? He also did say that she was lying about her age, right? Another thing that he said in the interview was that her mother never liked him. You know what I mean? Her mother was against him, and he says her mother pushed her to go and file the case later on down the line after they had a kid. And what he's saying is that she lied on him, and they have had conversations about it. Like, like later on down the line, like, you did this to me, that's messed up. She took accountability. And, like he's saying if she was to come out 9 times out of 10, like she would say that she lied on him. Okay? So these are all his words that I'm summarizing, right? And, of course, one of the most important things was the fact that if you didn't do it, why would you take the charge? And he said he was also facing a burglary case, right? And he just took the plea because his lawyer told him, if you take this, then you can walk. Even though the victim of the sexual assault case never showed up in court. Okay? Now I'm going to get into the facts that was provided by the U.S. government. Okay, now let's look at the facts. So, burglary case and sexual assault case. Let's start with the burglary case, okay? The indictment of that was April 12, 2011, okay? And the complaint was October 22nd, 2010, okay? As far as the sexual assault, the indictment was April 11, 2012, and the complaint was February 14, 2012. So both incidents did not happen at the same time, right? Now, let's get into the disposition, right? Before I get into the disposition, let me define what a disposition is. The disposition on a criminal record is the current status or final outcome of an arrest or prosecution. Okay, now let's look at a disposition date. What is final disposition date? Okay, the criminal laws in most jurisdictions typically say that a date of disposition is the date when a judge or jury makes a final ruling on your criminal case. Okay, so now we're going to look at the date of the disposition, the final disposition date. Okay, it was June 25th, 2012 for both cases, for the sexual assault and for the burglary. Okay, so both cases happened at different times, but he copped a plea, right? Took a lesser charge, so he can walk, essentially. As far as the walking part, that's what he said, right? But it was both cases that was ruled on the same day. Okay, so whatever that the conviction would have been, it would have been concurrent. You understand what I'm saying? Now let's look at the sentencing. Okay, and by the way, in the past 24 hours, I done a whole lot of research, so be patient with me. Okay, it is therefore on October 3rd, 2012, ordered and adjudged that the defendant is sentenced as follows. Count 1, probation for a period of 2 years. The court ordered to serve 96 days in the Passaic County Jail, which is time served. The defendant is to attend a domestic violence counseling. The defendant is to obtain and maintain gainful and lawful employment. No victim contact or contact with child. Now remember, they was trying to say that he was messing with his child, right? But here it says no victim contact, which will be the baby mama, or contact with child. You can't see his son. This court defers to family court regarding child visitation. Okay? Now, I'm saying all of this slow so y'all can hear it. You know, y'all usually hear Beato's up and entertaining and popping the shit. But the severity of this case, I have to break it down slowly for everyone that's listening. Okay? This court defers to family court regarding child visitation. If he was messing with his kid, I don't think they would even have that in there. Okay? Now, let's move forward to the sexual assault details, okay? As far as his case, right, the original charge was sexual assault, okay? Force or coercion with no serious injury, okay? And he copped to the final charge was sexual contact, okay? Now, let me read that. The crime of sexual assault covers more serious criminal sexual contact, such as rape and other acts of penetration, while sexual contact primarily covers unwanted touching or feeling. Okay? Now, let's look at the statute. Okay? So the statute, which for the original charge was 2C 14-2C1, okay? 2C 14-2C1, okay? It breaks down. The actor uses physical force or coercion, but the victim does not sustain severe personal injury, okay? And like I already told y'all, what he pled to was a lesser charge, which was amended, right? Which was sexual contact. Now, what people were putting out was that, you know, the statute was 2C 14-1, which would have been an aggravated criminal sexual contact, right? And the victim would have been less than 13 years old, okay? That's not what he was charged with, okay? That statute, 2C 14-1, where the victim is less than 13 years old, is not what he was charged with. What he was charged with was 2C 14-2C1. The actor uses physical force or coercion, but the victim does not sustain severe personal injury. Okay? So the victim was not a minor. Okay? It does not change anything on the severity of the case because it's sexual assault, okay? But here's the thing. He was charged and convicted, and he paid the price through the eyes of the law. So what's left is public perception and his reputation because he has a platform, okay? You know, from what I heard, he's even attached to Fetty Wap, you know, 1738. So people are saying, you know, he's known, okay? So now it's like public perception and the effects on his reputation, okay? But if people just create narratives, if he did A and people were saying he did B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Nobody's gonna, well, I'm not gonna say nobody, but people are not gonna hold him accountable for A. They're going to focus on the lies that was told about B, D, C, E, F, G. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why you have to give the facts. This is what he was charged with. This is what he was facing. This is what he dealt with. And this is how he feel about it now, okay? And that's up to the people to decide on him. If there's somebody that they want to mess with, you know what I'm saying, or somebody they don't want to support, okay? And I go to the 2C14, 2C1, right? The details of that statute, if it was a minor, right, based on what he was charged with, right, which is 2C14, 2C1, if it was a minor, it would have been 2C14, 2C4. 4 would have been the category of 2C14, 2C, right? It would have been 4, but it was 1. So it was sexual assault, force with force, coercion, okay? Just want to make it clear. And yes, like I said, I'm repeating myself because I want you guys to hear this clearly, and you can do your own research. I am going to put the New Jersey website link up there so you can go do your own research as well. Now, from here on, it's up to Dusse and it's up to the public, okay? But you got the facts and word of mouth from Dusse, and you decide what you want to do next. I'm out.